The 6 biggest Commander storylines.
It is caught!
Delivered at 6 o'clock sharp. It's the Pick 6 at 6.
I'm going to be their biggest and harshest critic, but I'm also their number one fan.
All right, so here's how we're going to do this on Fridays. It is going to be the 6 most important Commanders for the game. I don't know. 6 most important, 6 most intriguing. I'm going to go most intriguing, most interesting, not necessarily most important. Otherwise, it'd probably be like the same 6 every single week. So the guys that I'm most interested in on Sunday. Number 1 is the most important, and it's Sam Howell. It's his first career start as a true QB1, second career start overall, and I'm very, very intrigued to see how he meets the moment. I do not think that it will be too big for him. Nothing so far has been. But what he faced in Dallas last year is a totally pressure-free situation where there were no expectations, and the game circumstances wound up being as favorable as any quarterback will pretty much ever have in their entire careers. Like, he gets a plus territory turnover and a quick, easy, shallow cross to Terry McLaurin that he runs in for a touchdown on his first career pass attempt. Like, okay, so now you're up and you're playing from ahead the entire game. It's just, he only had to, throw less than 20 passes, wasn't it? Or he threw, 16 to 25, something like that. He threw less than 30 passes in the entire game. So what happens in, unless he gets that lucky again, what happens in I don't want to call it a real NFL game, but what happens in more normalized NFL circumstances? So do I think Howell will be good? And if I'm in the prediction business, I'm predicting good things for Sam Howell. Nothing I've seen so far suggests that he will not be. Not that it won't be perfect, not that there won't be growing pains, but that he will indeed succeed. But I am curious how it's going to look. So number 1 is Sam Howell. By the way, Anthony, do you have the numbers up in live? That's an element of Pick 6 that I forgot because they're not right in front of me today. You ready for number 2?
That was too fast.
That was too fast. That's on me. That's 100% my fault. Tell you what, number 2. We'll pick up the fancy numbers with number 3. Number 2 is Jahan Dotson, who ironically is number 1. Dotson, I think, could have a monster season. And I think this will be an indicator type of game. I think he will get the ball early. I think he will get the ball often. I think he will get the ball on the move. I think he will get the ball in the deep and intermediate ranges as well. Like, Terry's going to be their shot guy. Jahan will occasionally get one of those. But I think he will get yardage in chunks. And he will also be the guy that they just try to force feed the ball. Like, in a lot of ways, I know this sounds crazy, but like, he's going to be the Travis Kelce of this offense. Because Kelce, part of the reason why he's so effective is he's such a good route runner. Now, he gets to run his routes against linebackers and create mismatches. And, he was a by nature of position matchup nightmare for defenses. But Jahan is so good that he can run his routes on anyone that you can use him in very similar ways and trust with the same reliability that he's going to get open. And then if he slips a tackle, like, he's so dynamic in the open field, big plays are going to be abound. So, and by the way, he's almost never going to get a number 1 corner, because if you want to take that risk and put your second best guy on Terry or have him over Terry with regularity, good luck with that, because Terry's still the better player. But I think Jahan's going to have a monster year. And when you talk about kind of the usage levels in this offense, I think that Jahan might wind up being and I've said this before, I think he's going to lead the team in receptions, even if Terry leads it in yards. And I think we'll start to understand that better and how the distribution is going this weekend. And Jahan's kind of my main focus on that front. All right, to the defensive side.
Number 3.
I'm going to put 2 guys here, Jamin Davis, Cody Barton. We know the front's good. We're pretty sure the back end's good. How's the middle? And against a Kevin Stefanski, Kyle Shanahan family of offense, which is what Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator in Arizona, runs, the linebackers are put in conflict quite a bit. So how do they react? Can they get downhill and fit runs? I feel pretty confident Jamin Davis can. Cody Barton was pretty underwhelming on that in the preseason. How is his read-react game? How good is he then dropping into coverage? How late are you on those things? Understanding when it's play action, when you actually need to get down and get involved and fill your gap because it is run. Those two guys are going to be the difference between this defense being like good but occasionally problematic or great. The difference between it being great and like exceptional is going to be whether or not Chase Young plays, but that's a different conversation for later. But Jamin, Cody Barton, they're kind of at the key of everything here. So those guys are my number 3 for those reasons.
Number 4.
Quan Martin did not have a very good preseason, obviously. Better as it went. Did make a lot of really good plays, but made some pretty high-profile bad ones. And in this game, if he plays, the types of plays that he gave up, the high-profile bad ones, are what will kill this team. In general, the Cardinals are not good enough to beat Washington by stringing together 5 15-play drives. They're not talented enough. They will get a holding penalty. They'll give up a sack. Someone will fumble. Quarterback will make an error and throw an interception. Like, something bad will happen if they have to put together long drive after long drive. So if you give up explosive plays, that's how you're going to lose. And one of the best guys on that front for Arizona is Rondale Moore, who plays a lot in the slot. And if Quan Martin is out there, Quan has got to be on top of him. Moore is experienced enough and quick enough and athletic enough to be a problem. I don't know how much Quan is actually going to play, which is also, to me, the interesting part. He's going to have a role, but how much is he out there? What does he do? Quan Martin on the interesting list, number 4 for me this week.
Number 5.
Sadiq Charles. Really poor start to camp, in part because he wasn't out there a whole ton. We all thought Chris Paul was going to win that job, and Sadiq comes charging back, and he has been excellent. Mark Schlereth was blown away with what he saw on tape. This was the dude who was the starting tackle protecting Joe Burrow's blindside on that LSU national championship team. Like, he's a very talented player and has been a part of good teams in the past. Now, can he do it at the pro level and can he do it at guard? We'll see. But, obviously he's going to be right there in front of Sam Howell. He's going to be a key part of their screen game, which is something that struggled in the preseason, but is going to be a big part of this offense. He's going to be a big part of their run game. How does Sadiq Charles step up and perform? That is number 5. And last but not least, someone you probably didn't think I was going to mention.
Number 6.
What if Chris Rodriguez just is awesome? And I don't, it's too early to say that. I actually already have regret for even phrasing it that way, if I'm being totally honest. But he runs so hard, and was incredible in the preseason. And I think he's a guy that can come in, spell Brian Robinson, get a couple of carries, and consistently earn more over the course of the year. He is really, to me, he's the Isaiah Pacheco of this team. And who was the leading rusher for Kansas City last year was Pacheco. Late round pick who just came in and ran his face off, and he's an angry runner, and that's what kind of runner Bieniemy likes. Now, Robinson can also be that, and Robinson, I think, will ultimately lead the team in rushing and attempts, probably by a decent amount. But the Chris Rodriguez role is one I don't have a good grasp on, but I think it's going to exist. And I think this is a game, especially if they get up a little bit and start to run the ball a little bit more, this could be a game where he carves out a bigger role for himself the remainder of the season. All right, that is our pick 6. 6 players we've got our eye on for any variety of reasons. On Sunday, we'll do it every Friday. And then Monday at 6 o'clock, we'll check in and see how those 6 did. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up on the latest headlines and news going into the game. What is Chase Young's status? What is the status of the punt return game? The major announcement about Dax Milne today. So we will get you those news and notes before Damon Amendolara joins us at 6:30 here on The Hoffman Show.
Hey, this is DA, and you're listening to The Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.